If you are experiencing foundation issues, get a free estimate from Ox Foundations.
Coach Jonathan Beverly of the Childersburg Tigers joins us this morning. And Coach, a big opening night win, late touchdown gets the game for you. 22-14 is a hard-fought game.
Definitely was a hard-fought game. I thought we played well in all three phases, well enough to win for sure. Made some week one mistakes, but again, played well enough to win. Backs against the wall with 2 minutes to go, and had to go 80 yards to score the game-winning touchdown. But our guys stepped up and played really hard, and I thought our conditioning played a big part at the end, and couldn't be more proud of players and coaches.
Over 300 yards rushing. You have to tip your hat to that offensive line, too.
Absolutely. I thought the offensive line played a really good game overall. Got better as the game went on, especially there, in the fourth quarter. Again, that 80-yard touchdown drive with 2 minutes to go, that was 5 runs. It wasn't, we didn't throw the football there, which we felt like with a 2-minute drive, with a tie game, there wasn't as much pressure as if we were down, so that we could take our time and run the football. And we did, and, got down the field in a hurry on a couple of big runs and then punched it in late.
Talk about your 2 running backs, of course, Garrett, and of course, a guy that Terry Thomas we talked about forever. Seems like he's a senior this year.
Right. Yeah. Terry Thomas, a 4-year starter. Really on both sides of the ball. Has done a phenomenal job. Probably when it's all said and done, will be considered one of the best football players ever to come through Childersburg. Has given his heart and soul to the program, and has always just done a great job. Not only on the field, but in the weight room, in the classroom. He's a high GPA kid, and so just been a phenomenal player and ambassador for Childersburg football. And he stepped up big in the fourth quarter with a big run. And then Xavier Garrett, who's really come into his own, had 137 yards rushing last week, and just did a really good job protecting the football. So those 2 guys were really good for us last week.
Cameron Thrash, a quarterback, he didn't have to throw the ball a lot, but he kept things going the right direction and made some big plays for you too.
He did, managed the game well. Again, took care of the football. And then really on our option plays, made some big plays. They were zeroing in on both Xavier and Terry Thomas, and a couple of fake pitches here and there, and all of a sudden he was able to rip off some big runs as well.
Were you surprised that you were able to run the ball as well as you did?
For week one, yes, but overall, no. I mean, that's what we hang our hat on, being able to run the football. We're going to try to be more balanced as the year goes on, but, we knew coming into the season that, that was a phase of our offense that would be one that would carry us through, especially early on. And so, to go for 300 yards in game one is somewhat of a surprise, but we know that that's a staple in our offense.
Thomas with a 3-yard touchdown run with a little over a minute left in the game. Walk us through that final drive.
They score and kick the extra point to tie it at 14-all with 2 minutes to go, and then they kick off and it's a touchback. So we started our 20, had 2 plays that really didn't go anywhere. We take a timeout, and Terry, being the leader that he is, and Coach Fedoris, our running backs coach, when we took the timeout, I just told Coach Fedoris in the headset, hey, we're running the football. Who's it going to be? And he said, Coach, it's TT all the way. And so he gets in. We run one of our base run plays. He rips off a 40-yard run. We pick the tempo up. The next play was an option play, and Cameron Thrash kept it. Got another 40-yard run. Got us down inside the 3, and then we gave it to Terry to finish it off. And so again, it started with Terry giving us that spark on that big 3rd down play, and then Thrash making just a really smart play to keep it on the option. And they didn't account for him, and he got it down inside the 5, and then Terry was able to finish it off.
Explain in that final drive how you picked up the tempo a little bit more.
Well, once we ripped off that first big run, one of the things that we've been able to do is not just go fast all the time, to be able to mix the tempo up. So sometimes you got to understand when to pick it up and when to slow it down. And I think our guys have really done a good job, not only as coaches do we understand it, but I think our players are starting to understand it. And so they knew once we ripped off that big run that, hey, we got to get to the line, we got to go, because the defense is gassed. They just gave up a big play. They're vulnerable. And so, again, credit, the skill guys a little bit easier to get up there and get lined up. those big linemen, it's not
Tough
easy.
on us, man.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. It's not easy for those guys. We just ripped off a 40-yard run to sprint 40 yards down the field, get lined up, get set. So credit to those guys. But again, I think credit to our conditioning program. All of our coaches working this summer to make sure our guys were in great shape, and that helps us go fast.
22-14. Childersburg over Shelby County last Friday night, and Shelby County was no cakewalk. They love their football over there.
They do. It's a tough place to play. It's an intimidating atmosphere, and they were a big physical football team, and it was a dogfight, and we knew that going into it, and we had a lot of guys that were sore Saturday morning. I mean, it was a slugfest, but again, credit to our guys for not being lost in the moment, for being able to step up and make plays at the end.
What do you think it may say to a future opponent? You had three guys, two of them with over 100 yards rushing each, and the third one near 100 yards. It's going to be hard for a defensive team to key on one player.
Well, I hope they do try to key on one, honestly. I think it says that, we've got balance within the team with our playmakers. And those were three guys that we knew were going to get their touches, but we still got a couple of other receivers that we want to get more touches in their hands. And so as we go on, it makes you feel a little bit better, from the offensive side. And I know Coach Nash, our offensive coordinator, feels good knowing that he's got guys he can rely on and touches that he can get out there.
We talked about some of the key players with the big offensive games against Shelby County. Talk about another couple of guys on both offense and defense that played well.
I thought Cordell Spear and Zay Youngblood played really well defensively. Cordell, one of our defensive ends, and Zay Youngblood, our starting middle linebacker.
He's been playing forever, too.
Been playing for a while. So he did a really good job managing the game and putting us in the right spots. And I thought Cordell stepped up big, with the fact that Andrew Chapman on the other side, they were trying to run away from him so much. And so it put a lot of pressure on Cordell. They're running towards him all night long. But he stepped up, especially, like I said, in the wing tee attack, game one. He stepped up and really made some plays.
And that wing tee attack is something that give a lot of teams problems.
It definitely can give a lot of teams problems. Shelby County played Montevallo last night and scored 50 points, so that was a shootout, and we didn't find ourselves in that situation last week. And I think, again, the credit goes to, our defense for being able to, hold them in check for, a better part of 3.5 quarters.
First home game of the season against TC Central, and TC Central, they're going to bring their A game.
Right, yeah, they're going to be a very fast and athletic football team. Coach Mahan does a good job coaching those guys up, and so it's first home game. There's going to be a lot of emotion. We've got a pregame ceremony honoring Coach Collenbach tonight, and so we're expecting a big crowd on both sides. But hopefully at 7 o'clock we're able to lock in and have a good performance.
Well, TC, of course, and Childersburg not that far in distance away from each other, and a lot of these guys know their players, and they are related to some of their families and stuff like that too.
Right, absolutely. There's definitely I'm sure there's going to be some Garretts and some of the, some of the common last names that we see in our communities on both sides, and so that brings a different nuance to the game and brings a different level of familiarity. And again, we're looking forward to it. Looking forward to a fun, spirited game tonight.
How can Childersburg handle the attitude now of, hey, we're winning, we made the playoffs last year, we're building this year. How can you keep this team focused? You're in game 2 against TC, and TC can beat Childersburg if things fall together for them.
Well, one game at a time, one day at a time. One of my college coaches always said, how do you eat an elephant? And his response was 1 bite at a time. And so for us, how do we move forward and take our program to the next level? Just 1 step at a time. So, for us, we can't focus on what lies beyond tonight. Mm-hmm. We've got to focus on tonight. And then next week will take care of itself. Okay.
Childersburg and TC. Tonight, kickoff at John Cox Stadium, 7 o'clock. Coach Collenbach will be honored prior to the game. And what a gem Coach Collenbach has been.
Coach Collenbach is one of the most gracious and kind people I've ever met. Another person who's given his heart, his soul, his time, all of his energy and effort to not only Childersburg High School, but the Childersburg community as well. And so for us to be able to show some honor and some love to him tonight is just a really big deal for us.
All right, Coach, good luck tonight.
Yes, sir. We appreciate it.
Coach Jonathan Beverly, the head football coach and athletic director at Childersburg High School. Childersburg and TC kick at 7 o'clock tonight at John Cox Stadium. More daybreak after this.